Good evening and welcome to this week in review. Tonight's stories include the BDDB report, the council report, greenhouse update. These stories plus community events, the BBS playbill, off the rack and more coming up after this.
It takes community to heal a village. In northern Mali, USC Canada works with local partners to find community-based ways to ensure mother-child health, food security, and jobs. Canadian agencies are helping to renew and strengthen communities throughout the developing world. This means greater opportunities for global villagers. Canadians in partnership, finding solutions that work.
On Wednesday of this week, we visited the greenhouse project to see how things were progressing. We visited the original house first. The planting has been started. Within the next few days, the peat pots will be planted in the growing benches. At the new house, there was a bustle of activity. We spoke to Leonard Porter about these.
What those guys are doing now?
Yeah, they're mixing peat moss with perlite. The little white spicks is perlite, the same stuff you see in regular potting soil. And they're putting it in the grow benches, getting ready for the plants.
Okay.
That's it.
I believe Leonard's behind me. I believe you got some volunteers here today.
Yeah, we got Cheryl there, the water fellows there. Steve Green.
Steve, that way, yeah. And Curtis is with the.
Working with us out for a while.
Yeah, he's with the linkage program,
Yeah,
right?
he's with the linkage.
So is everything going pretty well?
Yeah, it's coming along now. We'll soon be ready to bring the plants out to this house.
Okay.
The boys are doing there mixing the peat and perlite together.
Okay.
50-50 mixture. Curtis is adding the nutrients.
Okay. Yeah. Some good old vitamins, eh?
Yeah, what they're doing is actually getting the capillary action started on the peat. So when it goes into the grow base, the irrigation system will keep it moist in.
Okay. So but you were just saying that you didn't have your irrigation system's not here yet?
No, it should have arrived Monday gone. We're expecting it any day now.
Oh, so is that a concern? Like how long can you add your plants there without really having an irrigation system?
Oh, not very long.
Okay.
We can water by hand if we have to. But,
along the process for sure. But you got how many plants in you're going to have?
3,750.
Okay. Okay. There's quite a bit of watering by hand.
Yeah. We get it all day. Every day.
And I don't think last time we were here you had your big fans and your furnaces in?
No, the furnaces we've got those in since you were here last.
Okay.
We got them fired up. They're working okay now.
Yeah. So you got like 4?
7 in total.
Okay.
There's 5 in this house and 2 in the other one.
So the mixture they're mixing up now is going to go in those boxes?
That's going in the grow benches.
Okay.
And the grow benches is covered with white plastic. And holes in them. You can see the benches there. The boys are working on them. There's a plant going in each one of these spots.
Okay. So that's what Clayton's doing, is putting in the white plastic.
Yep, that's what he's doing. And Freeman is installing the support strings.
Yeah, I guess that's another big thing. If you got
3,750 strings.
3,750 strings. Yeah, lots of strings to tie for sure.
That's time consuming.
Yeah. Well, it's wonderful that you got volunteers to help. It certainly makes work later.
It really makes a lot of difference for us.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be near this far ahead now. Boys hadn't showed up.
I noticed at the far end there that that bay was used for offices and washroom and that. I see you got some construction going on over there.
Yeah, we've actually stopped the construction on that now until we get everything done here.
Okay.
The urgent thing now is to get ready for the plants.
Okay.
Then we'll finish that off. That's what it is. It's offices, washrooms, cold storage.
Okay, right then through, right?
Yeah, and packing area.
Okay.
Right back in this end there is where the committee will be graded pack.
Okay. Yeah. I'm assuming now that you got a walkway or an hallway coming right down through past all those rooms?
Yeah, there's a 4-foot hallway there.
Okay, yeah. And you did tell us that the plants are hopefully going to be transferred out here in 2 weeks?
Or less.
Okay, yeah.
It's going to depend on how soon we can get it ready.
Yeah, we took a look at the plants when we came up. They look like they're doing fine.
Yeah, we've planted them about, I think it's a little over 2 weeks ago.
And there's a big difference in the greenhouse now. This time when we came in last time, there was snow here.
Yeah, we got all that out.
Excellent. You were telling me that your buyers are getting anxious to receive some product.
Yeah, they're asking for it now. They're wondering when we're going to have it on the market. Hopefully it doesn't be too long.
And that's a good sign, obviously, yeah.
Deputy Mayor Scott Linehan joins us this week for the council report.
Good evening. This is the council report for Wednesday, April 3rd, 2002. Mayor Han is out of town, and I'll be doing the council update for this week. At the regular meeting held on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the town office, all members are present, as well as the EDO officer, Mr. Greg Hillier. The meeting was called to order at 7 o'clock. It was a very active meeting with a heavy agenda, and tonight I'll give you a brief summary of what we discussed. As usual, we began with the town manager report. Mr. Kendall had a number of items on the agenda. The first thing we discussed was the new water treatment plant. Earlier that day, on Wednesday at 3:30, we met with the engineers, the council, and with the town manager as well, and we're given an update on the current status of the water treatment plant. It appears that it's going to begin phase 1 in April, late this month, or perhaps early next month with phase 1, and construction and the building of our new water treatment plant. It should go on through the summer, and hopefully by late August or early fall, they'll begin phase 2 with completion tentatively scheduled for November. At the meeting, it was a very good meeting, very informative, I must say, on behalf of all council. I'm very excited, and I hope this goes forward, and I look forward to our clean drinking water in the fall. As well, the council again reiterated its position on the fact that if they have hiring to do and they're looking for workers, we've impressed upon them to buy locally and to hire locally. And they've committed to that, so we're glad to see that, and hopefully we'll see construction in the very, very near future. As well, the Burgeo Town Council has actively been trying to reinstate a road grant for snow clearing in the neighborhood of $15,200 that the government, that we're trying to get reinstated from the government. As most of you know, Burgeo Town Council currently does its own road clearing and gets a small amount of money for that, and we've been trying to get the money, $15,200, reinstated to the Burgeo Town Council to cover off the clearing of the roads in the main road from the government wharf up to, including, and past George Eric's garage. So we're trying to get that money reinstated or get the Department of Highways to clear that road for us. However, we've been unsuccessful at this time. In discussions with Mr. Parsons, he seems that it does not look promising. He's done what he could do. However, we are still pursuing it. The file is still open, and we're hoping that by next fall that we can have some movement on this. So we're certainly hopeful, and we're going to keep pushing the matter that we can get the road grant reinstated to the community so we can have more money allocated to road clearing. As well, we have heard nothing back yet on the emergency funding to get our loader fixed, as I'm sure most of you know, and as Mayor Han has referred to in previous addresses to the community. The loader engine block split and it had to be rebuilt this winter. It overheated. So we were looking for emergency funding from Municipal Affairs, Oliver Langdon's department, to offset the cost of this unfortunate incident. It come to about $15,000, which is a significant amount of money for a town our size. So we're hoping that we can get some emergency funding to help offset the costs of getting that loader repaired. With that in mind, we have actively pursued getting an alarm system installed on our loaders to prevent this from happening again in the future. We've been quoted an estimate of $200 to put an alarm system in our machinery so that the operators will hear the alarm bell sound when the machine is reaching a critical heat level. So those will be installed, ordered and installed in short order. As well, with regard to the government shed, the government was successful in winning its case for acquiring the government shed again. The judge signed a decision on March 21st, so that gives the current occupants 30 days to appeal. So that would take us up to April 21st. So as it stands now, the government shed is with the possession of the government. However, there's a 30-day waiting appeal so that the current residents or lessees have until that time to appeal the judge's decision. So until that day, the council anxiously waits, and hopefully we'll hear something back by April 21st that it's been reverted back to the government. And finally, Gordon Slade did a presentation on the cruise ship industry, and while there wasn't a great turnout, a number of people were there, and from what we gather, it was a very informative session on the cruise ship viability in our province, and more specifically the southwest coast of Newfoundland. After some discussion, the EDO report was brought forward by Mr. Greg Hilliard. April 26th will be the annual report for the BDDB, as well as election of officers, and council has extended an invitation to that. As with regard to the kiosk at the beginning of the Burgeo Highway, as hopefully a place for tourists to stop and get information about Burgeo and the southwest coast of our province. As the mayor has reported here before, the money was turned down federally. However, provincially, $25,000 was allocated to our region to continue on with a kiosk. We're hoping that this will begin in the very near future, employing some people for approximately 8 weeks, eight weeks employment for 5 people. So in partnership with Burgeo Town Council and with the provincial government, we're hoping that that project will begin in the near future, and I'm sure the BDDB will be informing people when that's going to start. With regards to Aaron's Arm, construction of 6 floating docks, again, this is scheduled for April 22nd to begin, and again, this should be a 10-week project employing 6 people. As well, the Economic Development Officer has applied for 5 students to be hired in our area this summer. As you know, it's a regular occurrence in our area, and hopefully we'll be successful, and the BDDB will be successful in employing, getting 5 students hired in our area. The BDDB has also been trying to get an assessment done of the Buckens Highway viability, making it more of a mainstay in our area. However, it appears that it's not on the list of priorities for the government, work services, and transportation. So to that end, as it stands right now, that'll be left with the Marine Mountain Zone Economic Development Board. With regard to the solid waste management study, it's a 9-week study, and that'll be undertaken soon. It's from the Multi-Material Stewardship Board, a $20,000 grant was given to undertake the study. However, there was a $2,200 shortfall, which means that that money will be split between all the communities who are involved with the solid waste management study and who will be impacted by this, such as Ramia, Burgeo, Grey River, these areas. So we're hoping that with the $2,200 shortfall, with all the partners involved in this, there'll be a cost share basis. And finally, a very lengthy discussion with regard to the government shed and proponents put forth before the BDDB. Again, it was a very lengthy discussion. There are 3 proponents who are interested in going before the BDDB and having projects on the table to occupy the government shed. But again, as I stated earlier, that the government shed, as it stands now, lies with the government, and there's a 30-day appeal that's sitting before the Justice Department. So until that time, I guess everything is kind of waiting until we get final approval and ratification from the Department of Justice that we can move forward with the government shed. So as it stands now, the BDDB are actively pursuing and securing different proponents for our area, and when we get something further on the government shed, certainly I'm sure everyone will be the first to know. With regard to committee reports, Mr. Kendall recommended 4 building lots for sheds to be constructed in our area, and that was passed unanimously by council. As well as a couple other items that came forth. The Fireman's Ball will be going ahead and has went ahead this past Saturday, and council was invited to attend. As well, the Hockey Rink Roof Committee were seeking financial support at this time. However, the council has decided to continue with its support of their endeavors and leave financial support until a later date. As well, a holiday has been approved for July 26th. That falls in accordance with Burgeo Day with the Sand and Sea Festival. That was approved as well. The Lions Club had sent a request before the Burgeo Town Council requesting financial assistance in helping offset the cost of operating the rink this year. They were looking for any support at all possible, and the Lions Club helped offset, or sorry, the council has decided to help offset the cost by $1,500. As well, with regard to the waste management study, we decided that our share, as Burgeo being the largest partner in this waste management study, $800 will be passed to help offset the cost of the waste management study. And finally, a letter was received to the council from the SGE group. It was signed by one Edward Robinson, and we thought that it would be good to bring forth a bit of positive news, good news for our area. Edward Robinson is an engineer who worked in Burgeo installing the water and sewer system in 1969 and 70. So that is some 30 years ago, and he hasn't returned to the area since. However, recently he had the opportunity to drop by our area, and given the close of the fish plant, economic downturn, the outward migration of 7% of our province, he had anticipated seeing a real, I guess, antiquated town. However, when he came to Burgeo, I would be certainly happy to share what he had said when he came to our area. And if you'll please allow me just a couple sentences to read what Mr. Robinson had said about our area. Upon arriving at Burgeo, I was amazed to that vast majority of homes appear to have been well maintained and upgraded in many cases, and many new homes in fact constructed. Both private properties and the community in general were neat and tidy. The people to whom we talked seemed to exhibit a great deal of pride in their town. The purpose of this letter is to extend my congratulations to you, the municipal leaders, and to the citizens of Burgeo for being able to maintain a vital, attractive community. I wish you every success in your future efforts, and I can assure you that I will not be 30 years before my next visit. And I'm confident when I say that when people come to our community, it's generally the same comment, that it's a beautiful town, the people are wonderful and friendly, and he had a 30-year hiatus before he had come back to and visit our town, and it seems that he is pleasantly surprised. So I thank Mr. Robinson on behalf of the town council and the community of Burgeo for a very nice and warm letter. So that's it for the town council report for April 3rd, 2002. Have a great evening.
Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
In West Africa, when rain is scarce, crops fail, forcing rural people to move to cities in search of a means to provide for their families. With the help of USC Canada, villagers in northern Mali are fighting the pressure to leave with projects focused on market gardens, small credit schemes, and improved soil conservation methods. Help the people of Mali fight back against desertification and drought. Support USC Canada today.
On Wednesday of this week, we were invited to the Scotiabank to take a look at their latest Janeway fundraiser. The staff are selling tickets on this lovely patio furniture in aid of the Janeway Children's Hospital. Scotiabank is also a supporter of the Children's Wish Foundation. The bank staff usually has 3 fundraisers per year, one at Christmas, Easter, and Mother's Day. Your support on these projects are greatly appreciated. If you would like to purchase a ticket, they cost $1 each or 3 for $2 and are available from any staff member at the bank. You could win this beautiful patio furniture in time for Mother's Day and make someone very happy. The BDDB officer, Greg Illiard, stopped by our studio this week for his regular monthly update. We welcome with us in our studio today Greg Illiard. Welcome again, Greg.
Thanks. Nice pleasure to be here.
Well, we got lots on the agenda, so we'll get right to it. First of all, review of Social Assistance Act.
Yeah, about 2 months ago, the Department of Human Resources and Employment sent out a discussion document. It was sent to various different interest groups, organizations around the province, as well as individuals that might be interested in it. And what it is the department now is in the process of reviewing the legislation that governs, if you want, the department. A lot of people call it social services. It's now Human Resources and Employment, of course, and they're looking at making some major changes to the overall legislation in the Act, of course, which at the end of the day filters down to how the department does business with their various clients and people that are involved with Human Resources and Employment. So we received a document as a board a couple of months ago, and we passed out the discussion paper to all of our board members and basically asked them to review it and come back, and at the end of the day, the BDDB is looking at possibly doing a presentation, or at least, if nothing else, making a written brief to the minister responsible, outlining possibly some concerns we might have. But it's a document that would be worthwhile for anybody to read, not just people that are directly affected or involved with Human Resources and Employment, because it certainly has effects for communities as a whole, and the way the province does business as it relates to human resources and employment activities, and of course the Social Services Act at the same time is all part of that as well. So certainly we do have some extra copies in the office if there's individuals in the community that might be interested in having a look at the document. If we don't have them, or if we run out, certainly Human Resources and Employment here in Burgeo can provide anybody with copies as well. But we are planning to do a written brief to the minister. There is a number of things, and I don't want to get biased in terms of what we've identified already, but there is a number of things in there that we feel as a board that should be discussed and addressed with the minister, because it does have some what we feel could potentially be adverse effects on the clients that deal with Human Resources and Employment and the overall program itself and how the department operates. So just, I guess, to inform the general public of Burgeo that it is out there, it's under review right now, and like anything else, the only way to have some input is if you provide input yourself to the overall process.
Okay. Did you care to mention any of the changes, or is it a change from top to bottom? Or?
Well, there's going to be a lot of changes in how, especially I guess as it relates to the benefits portion of it, and you know, the clients that are actually, I guess, directly right now involved in receiving social assistance. There is a major move afoot, and it's in some ways, I guess, a very proactive and positive move. Where we all know that you know, social assistance, or whatever you want to call it, I guess, in Human Resources, at one point they were more like it was a maintenance game of people that were in between. They've lost employment, lost EI, and it was some form of at least income support, albeit we know as minimal as it is. Right now they're actually being more proactive to assist these people in developing and getting involved in either training programs to make them more employable, providing subsidy programs whereby if a client goes out and they can find an employer that's willing to hire them on, they'll provide 50% of the wage subsidy for a period of time. So they've taken a more proactive look, or more proactive approach to it all. And that's only a couple of things off the tip of the iceberg. The linkages program, for example, is another one of the areas that they've been involved in. And of course, we're sponsored, the BDDB sponsor, which is, again, I look at it as a very proactive program. But there is areas there that where they provide certain services and whatnot to their clients could very well be cut off or eliminated, or wouldn't be as much benefit as they have today. And I think people, you know, just the general public, it could affect the community as a whole at the end of the day. And I think the general public might want to take the time to read it and just see exactly what's in it and what they're trying to do. I think at the end of the day, the whole object is to be more proactive and have people less sufficient on the support income programs, which is obviously a positive step forward. But in the short term, how adversely affected are the clients going to be with some of these changes? And that's going to be up to the individuals to really determine. So I would really certainly encourage people to have a look at it.
Okay. The Buckins Road.
Yeah, as I think I mentioned a couple of months ago, we were approached by the Marina Mountain Zone. They were interested in looking at the potential of partnering with us down here to look at opening up the Buckins Road, and of course that would give us much better access to central Newfoundland and then on into eastern Newfoundland as well. We've done some preliminary investigations in terms of the whole aspect, met with Abitibi Price because it is their road, to see if they were receptive to us doing a more detailed investigation. And what transpired really at the end of the day is that we talked to the provincial government, excuse me, and basically the Buckins Road is not even on their list, let alone a priority list of roads to be looking at within the province. So of course we sat down sometime this week with representatives of the Marina Mountain Zone and Port aux Basques and said, look, you know, if the province doesn't consider this even on their list of things maybe to do, why are we you know, trying to go after this initiative and move it forward? We all know that the Labrador Highway is a major priority for the provincial government now, which is fine. And of course we all know that there's a lot of communities in the provinces and a lot of roads that lead to communities in this province that are in need of major upgrade, let alone trying to convince somebody to pave a road so we can get access to central eastern Newfoundland a little bit quicker. So at the end of the day, we felt that, as like I normally say every now and then, there's no sense chasing a ghost that really isn't there, and we've decided to kind of put that on the back burner, very, very back burner, until such time as maybe government might raise it as an issue in some way, shape or form, because it will become, I won't say a political issue, but it'll become an issue if politicians and senior bureaucrats decide that, hey, maybe we should look at this. So we're really not going to waste much more time, if any time, on looking at the Buckins Road aspect at this point in time.
Okay. Mobile phone service, and you got a footnote there, CRTC.
Yeah, I think I mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, at our last time I was here, and we had an interview, that I was approached by a number of people in the community in regards to the mobile phone services that's available right now on the Burgeo Road. Newtel Mobility or Alliant, we're looking at basically cutting that service due to the fact that it's now what they consider extinct. It's hard getting equipment and parts and maintenance and all those kinds of things. So it was brought to our attention. We wrote a letter to Alliant saying, you know, that this is a much needed service on the road, even though there is self-service at the beginning, or self-service at the beginning and the end of the Burgeo Road. You know, there's a substantial amount of people that actually utilize that whole Burgeo Road, as well as, of course, Peter Strides region for outfitters and everything else, that we felt that it needed to be replaced. And when I talked to the regional manager for Alliant, he assured me that they were looking at actually providing cell phone coverage in along the Burgeo Road. However, when I brought it up to our board at our last regular meeting, it was felt that we shouldn't wait for Alliant, because what they've done is made application to CRTC really to remove the mobile phone service in support of another service. But there was major considerations or concerns that they might not at the end of the day look at the cell service. They might look at offering satellite service, because if they remove one service, CRTC is going to say, well, you've been there providing a service, now you must replace it with something else. Not necessarily a more cost-effective service. And we all know that satellite service is available, even though it would cost an arm and a leg for anybody to access it. So what the board has decided is we're going to write CRTC directly, not wait for them to make the announcement or advertise to see if anybody has concerns. And we're going to address the issue with them, because we feel that due to the economics and the need for that type of service on the Burgeo Road, that if Newtel decides, or Alliant decides to remove the mobile phone service, then they should ensure that, if nothing else, that cell phone service goes in there in that region, and that way it becomes affordable and more accessible for people, not only the traveling public, but people that are in there on a regular basis, Peter Strides and cabin owners and that kind of stuff at the same time. So that's where the board is to with it right now at this point in time.
Okay.
And sorry, having said that, I would encourage anybody that's in the area that are using right now the mobile phone service. I wouldn't wait till the application goes to CRTC. I would encourage them. We have the address, so they can phone me and basically do up their own letter of concern and send it off to the CRTC, because the way CRTC works is they wait and see what the reaction of the public who's using the service is before they really wind up making a decision. And the more information they get ahead of time, the more advantageous it might be here to ensure that we get, if nothing else, a self-service.
Perfect. Sounds good. You got your annual general meeting coming up.
Yeah, we were slated for the annual general meeting for April 26th at 7 o'clock in the fire hall. There will be a board of elections for various vacancies on the board of directors this year. There's 4 of them actually. One's appointed by council, and the other 4 seats are actually open to the general public. And of course, all residents, permanent residents of Burgeo are entitled to vote or be nominated at that meeting. And at the same time, we'll be doing our annual financial statements will be presented, as well as our annual report of activities of the board. And of course, that night as well, we're hopefully going to open the floor for discussion on initiatives and priorities that people in the community feel maybe the board should be directed in. We'd really like this to be a little bit of a workshop session whereby the community get the opportunities to find out what ideas might be out within the community. I mean, the board sits around the table and meets on a monthly basis. We do have people coming in through the door with their own various ideas, but it might be in a public forum the opportunity for people to put forward on the table maybe various ideas or initiatives they might feel might be viable within the community. They all don't have to be, if you want, job creation activities or direct economic. They could be human resource development issues, training programs, or other initiatives that they feel would enhance the community at the end of the day. So really, we're going to try and open the floor and get some ideas from the general public of where they feel the direction of the board should be for the next 12 months. So we feel it's a good opportunity to people to voice their opinion and at the same time voice concerns. I mean, there's probably things that the board are doing that the general public takes, if you want, for face value. Not really sure sometimes of the inner workings of the board in terms of how we do hiring or why we do this, make decisions on these types of things. And it would be, again, in a public forum, the opportunity to actually question the board members and myself in terms of how we do business. And sometimes the people are better informed and they have a better understanding. And at the same time, if they don't like the way things are done, I mean, it is the community's board. And if they don't agree with the way things are done, then there's an opportunity there to kind of put things forward and suggestions and ideas of how maybe things could be done to better serve the residents of this community. And I mean, that's what we're all about at the end of the day, really. It's here for the citizens of Burgeo and trying to move economic development activities forward. And we need as much input as we can.
Okay. Well, there certainly is a great opportunity for anybody in the community who has some concerns or, like you say, want to pass on some ideas. Now, on Wednesday of this week, you guys, along with the town and the FFAW, had a joint meeting. You want to tell us about that? Yeah,
it really stemmed from, as everybody's aware, the MHA was in here last week, and of course he had a full slate of activities and meetings that day, but he did meet with the union and of course the membership. He had a membership meeting as well. He explained the situation with what's transpired and really how it related to trying to acquire a steel tannery here in Burgeo and what transpired. And of course, after the Honourable Minister left, the membership itself had a discussion, and the president of the local union was asked to meet with town council and representatives of the BDDB to look at the potential that if there's nothing happening in that plant facility, then explore the opportunities of basically the community trying to acquire it and put economic initiatives within the facility that's going to see it reopen again in some way, shape, or form. I think most people will agree that we're probably not going to see 400 plus employees anymore in a fish plant facility. That's not to say, excuse me, you wouldn't have some primary processing and even secondary processing of fish and fishery related products in a facility of that nature. It's just everybody, I think, now is to the point of believing that you're just not going to see it on the scale that you used to be at one point in time, and it's unfortunate, but that's a fact and reality, I guess. So we had a meeting yesterday, and of course, when we discussed it, our board is going to go back, and it was more of a fact-finding issue. Our board is going to address it in our next regular full board meeting with the BDDB, and Town Council is going to address the issue. There's obviously a lot of concerns and not only from the facility itself, that if you get it, what do you do with it, but it's the overhead costs and all the liabilities and things that are associated with just inheriting a building of that nature, and it's fairly expensive to keep insured, to keep heated, to keep maintenance on it. And at the end of the day, are you going to either attract somebody to operate it, or how fast can you get different initiatives moving to put in a facility of that nature to assist in offsetting the operating costs? So there's a lot of concern centered around it, and there's going to be a lot of weight to it. I mean, some people are under the fact that if you start some type of processing facility anymore, why would you want to go in, excuse the expression, like the big monstrosity that you have up there? And we all know in this day and age, the technology for fish plants is much more simplified. You need a lot less space than you used to, and of course, people are handling the resource that used to go through a facility of that nature as well. So I mean, things are on a much lesser scale. That's not to say that we don't have some other economic initiatives that we could move forward, and we're hoping to move forward in the next little while, but we all know how slow things are sometimes. I mean, it's incredibly slow. And if you could look and see in 6 months' time that, hey, you know, if we acquired that facility, if Mr. Barry agreed to say, yes, but I've got nothing to go in here, you know, why don't the community take it off my hands type of thing. And you could envision that maybe 3 or 6 months down the road, you could put different economic opportunities in there. Then maybe, but right now, I mean, nobody's really sure. And to be saddled with a debt load at the expense of that type of facility, in some ways is questionable. But I know council is going to look at it, and the board's going to look at it. And of course, it did come from the membership. I'm not saying it's not beyond the realm of possibilities, but certainly it was a good meeting that we had the opportunity, I think, after probably about 6 or 7 months to really sit down together again and talk about various different issues related to economic development and the community as a whole. What we've also done is, as a board, we're in the process of trying to arrange a meeting with Mr. Barry as well. Our last meeting, the joint committee, if you want, representatives of town council, the union, BDDB, saw Mr. Barry in November. Since that time, we've kind of left it up to, I guess, the industry people that are involved in the seal tannery, and of course the politicians, our MHA and Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture, and even the Premier got involved in the seal tannery issue, you know, to work things out. It's to the point now where I think it's time for us to really, as a board, you know, sit down with Mr. Barry and ask him what his thoughts and feelings are for the future. It's been 10 years, aside from the crab, since that facility is open. Do we look at it now as, excuse the pun, a white elephant and move on with other things? Or is there some other opportunity that might be available? I think we need to really have a frank discussion with Mr. Barry and just see exactly what his future plans might be for that facility.
Okay.
And hopefully to let everybody know at the end of the day. So that's where we're in the process now, is trying to arrange a face-to-face meeting with Mr. Barry and take it from there. And certainly our intent is to keep, obviously, the union executive and then through the membership and the general public informed of what's transpiring in that area.
Okay, now you also have your short-term projects.
Yeah, excuse me. As people are aware, I mentioned some time ago that we did have approval for the Aaron's Arm project, and of course that was delayed due to the weather and whatnot. It has been put back on the burner, so to speak, with the mild weather and good weather hopefully coming at the same time. We're looking at starting the Aaron's Arm project roughly around the 22nd of April. There's a number of people that we originally had hired that won't be available to work with us now, so what we've done is re-advertise for a couple of the laborers positions as well as the forepersons position, and we're hoping, of course, to get those positions filled sometime early in the coming week. And the following week we'll be meeting and gearing everything up so they can start on the 22nd. Of course, our plan is to construct 6 sections of floating dock that'll be used as the new finger pier, and then of course construct another 100 foot of permanent dock around the left-hand side as you're looking out Aaron's Arm, and continue that process. And of course our ultimate goal at the end of the day is actually to put a major docking facility right along that whole shoreline. So it's just another step for us in the process. But I want to assure the general public, knowing that the boating season is coming up, and of course the finger pier has now been removed, and that was done to hopefully expedite our process of trying to move forward for this coming year, that, you know, we are moving on it. It is a 10-week program. Our first priority will be to build the floating docks to get the old cribbing out that was underneath the existing finger pier, and then to get that floating dock put back in place, and then we can continue the process of working on that 100-foot extension on the other side. So even though the program should take us up to roughly the end of June. Of course, when we're right in the middle of the boating season, any work that we do there shouldn't affect anybody using and utilizing the Aaron's Arm for, you know, canoeing and boating and that kind of stuff. So that's our plan right now, just to let the public know. The other thing I did mention is that in partnership with a number of communities around, we were looking at developing a permanent rest stop information center up at the Burgeo Junction Trans-Canada Highway. Excuse me. Unfortunately, our proposal was denied through HRDC. However, we did manage to access money officially last week from Industry, Trade and Rural Development, and we will be hiring a 4-person carpenter and 2 to 3 laborers to actually construct the information center beginning roughly the 29th of April for about an 8-week period. We're very pleased that it's moving ahead. It provides us the opportunity now on our own to actually station staff up there at the Burgeo Junction to be able to properly maintain that parking lot, rest stop area, and provide amenities such as washroom facilities, information, fresh water, as well as we're going to be putting picnic tables back there in garbage cans that were originally there that somehow mysteriously grew legs and disappeared. But now that we'll have staff up there manning the facility during the summer months, then we'll be able to put those amenities out for the general public. So we're really pleased, and hopefully, you know, we're going to keep stats on the traffic and the flows and the number of visitors that come in. So at the end of the day, we'll basically get a good feel for the interest and the volumes of traffic that are actually coming down the Burgeo Highway to either come to Burgeo, François, Grey River, Ramier, or along the south coast. And we feel it's just one more step in our process of promoting this as a tourism destination during the summer months. And what I'll probably do, Maureen, next time I come in is I'll bring a picture of our concept plans. It's a nice little facility. Actually, Mel D'Souza a couple of years ago, that was one of the first things he presented to me, was a little concept for a rest stop information center up there, and we're going to be using his concept plans as the major design for that facility. So we're really pleased to see that moving forward.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to hit?
No, I think that that pretty well covers it. Obviously, we still have some, you know, major ongoing initiatives. You know, the yachting study is just about near completion. I roll my eyes when I say that because it's roughly 3 months later more. Seniors complex we're working on, the sea urchin development with a host of a couple of other things, you know, are still on the table and moving forward. We've had meetings with various funding agencies in those areas. So even though sometimes I come in, I don't talk about those, they're not things that we're not working on. We still are, and we will continue to the point that we see some of these things come to fruition at the end of the day, and hopefully much sooner than later.
Okay, well, we certainly thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here as usual.
Okay, thanks. Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
Communication is the beginning of understanding, and understanding is the basis for problem solving. USC Canada believes communication should know no borders. A farmer's field in Ethiopia offers innovation for old problems in Nepal. A community seed bank in Bangladesh sparks ideas for one in Mali. All over the developing world, Canadians in global partnership, finding solutions that work.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of when the Burgeo Road was closed for 4 days due to a snowstorm. Let's look back to April the 6th, 1997.
Workers on both ends worked from early Friday morning right through till they met 8:30 Friday evening, plowing through snowdrift after snowdrift.
Good evening and welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Jennifer Marks. The winner of the Sand and Sea TV Bingo was Gloria Barter. Congratulations, Gloria. The Sea Cadets will be having TV Bingo on Wednesday, April 10th at 7 p.m. There will be one game for $300. Cards are $1 each or 6 for $5 and are available from any member of the Sea Cadets and are in most stores around town. Please support the Sea Cadets and you could win $300. The Hockey Rink Fundraising Committee are selling Civic Center $1 million tickets. They cost $120 per ticket or a group of 10 for $12 each. If you would like to buy a ticket or share, please call Max Bullard at 886-2442, Leonard Ball at 886-2821, or Paulette Morrison at 886-2830. All proceeds from ticket sales will go towards putting a roof over the rink. The draw date will be Sunday, May 12th. The Burgeo Public Library are selling tickets on a bid in a bag and a Mother's Day surprise gift. Tickets cost $3 for $2 and are available at the Sears office, as well as any library board member. The draw date is Friday, May 10th. The staff at the bank are selling tickets on patio of furniture in aid of the Janeway Children's Hospital. Tickets cost $1 each or 3 for $2. The draw date is Friday, June 28th. Please support this worthwhile cause. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we will be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesdays of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Tune in on Tuesday for a video entitled Gearing Up, A Guide to Safe Cycling. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing Sea Cadet TV Bingo. Tune in on Thursday when we'll have a rebroadcast of the bandwagon. Next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. we will have religious revelations from the Anglican Church. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. Before I say goodnight this evening, I feel I owe an apology to some residents of Burgeo for any trouble I may have caused them. It certainly wasn't my intention to discuss anyone's personal business on This Week in Review. Please accept my apology. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.